What up, world? Welcome back to Pro Publications YouTube channel. As always, me, Rich, and I got some really interesting stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. The diamond distribution, the DC situation that's going on. They finally are breaking up that motherfucking monopoly. Let's get into that shit. Thank you for stopping by. Please like, share, subscribe. How do I want to start this story? Well, first of all, I disappointed myself. I went to a comic book shop. I told myself I was only gonna spend about 30 to 40 bucks. I ended up spending $100. I fucking walked out of there mad at myself. Like, why would you make a budget for yourself and then not follow it? No one put that budget on you but yourself. You let yourself down. But that's besides the point. What I want to talk about was in that transaction, I was talking to the comic book shop owner, and I told him like, oh yeah, we were talking about the diamond distribution and the DC separation. The comic book shop's owner was that this was a bad thing. I, of course, as an independent publisher, was like, that's a good thing. Diamond distribution has been horrible to independent publishers, where you have to already have sold at least $2,500 worth of comics before you're even allowed to be on their preview page. At that point, it depends upon how many people order your comics that you can maintain that or not, because they'll drop you if you don't have enough sales. I get it. It's a business. Fuck it. But nonetheless, that's a very cutthroat situation. That's why when you go to most comic book shops, it is a very limited scope of comics you will find. And I told this to the shop owner. I said, well, that's problematic. And I publish independently. And so that's why I'm happy about this change, the shakeup. It's going to change the paradigm that it's been existing with for some time. Now, there's a very interesting article from IGN, and I want to read some of it. And I'm gonna link that article in the show notes so you guys peep it out. I want to read this passage real quick. It's a system that has been regularly criticized over the years for benefiting Diamond itself more so than publishers or stores. Most of the actual risk, critics say, is borne by comic shops whose owners must pick and choose books they think will sell to their customers. Unlike the older newsstand distribution system the industry used to rely on, in this direct market system, unsold comics generally aren't returnable, so they become money lost for shop owners. That forces many owners to become conservative with their orders and makes it that much harder for unproven creators and franchises to gain a foothold in a system where Batman and Spider-Man are safe bets. So as an independent publisher, I think it's a good thing, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if Diamond Distribution doesn't change the minimum purchase, which is every month people have to purchase $500, or not every month, but per order, right? So if you're purchasing weekly, per week you have to spend 500 bucks. Now, if half of the titles that you used to buy were DC and the other half were Marvel and maybe a third was Image, that leaves you a third that you now have to fill. Are you going to buy more Marvel comics, or are you going to start trying to put some more independent comics in there? That remains to be seen. I feel like the shop owners, a lot of them, even the one I spoke to, he's not a businessman. He's not business minded. The way he's viewing is like he likes comics, and I respect that. I really do, and I hope that no one misunderstands that about me. Who doesn't want that, right? Me, as a person that loves to read comics and just loves to read literature, I would love to be a bookshop owner, right? But then there's the other aspect of it needs to make sense. It needs to be a business. The fact that they've cornered themselves where they've all been relying on whatever Diamond has decided for them, it's always been a dangerous situation. It's always been a very problematic situation. So the fact that they finally are breaking that up, that's good. And then on the flip side to that, Marvel is saying that DC is declaring war on Marvel through this action, because if Diamond Distribution collapses, what is Marvel gonna do? This multi-billion-dollar company owns them, but they don't know what they're gonna do. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's just more of the same shit. People are very disgruntled and upset because things change. Things will change, and we can only hope that it changes for the better. If this is the change that's going to happen, I hope that comic book shop owners begin to realize that they need to stop relying on the big two. Big two is not all that it's meant to be. I've talked to many comic book shop owners, and I told them, why don't you carry zines on consignment? A lot of independent publishers are okay with that, and they just do not want to. Why? I don't know. I don't understand. I've written about it on LinkedIn, and I've tried to spread the word on LinkedIn for other comic book shop owners of like, there's this whole other side of the creative process that you haven't tapped into that really would not cost you much. And a lot of the consignment systems that exist, actually, you're able to send them back if they don't sell. So the idea of like, why would you not tap into this? I don't get it. But the reality of it is, going back to what I was saying, of like a lot of the shop owners, they just want to have a comic book shop. They're not business people. They're not thinking outside of the box. And that's how businesses die. and that's how business structures die. But like something has to give, man. Like this shit it's a broken system, and hopefully they begin to fix it, and hopefully, honestly, like a lot of smaller presses begin to get picked up by a lot of comic book shops and become something that normally is included, right? I know in LA there was one comic book shop that was a gold mine for like underground independent comics, and I loved that spot. But since that one shop, I have yet to see any other shop embrace independent publishing the way that one did. Even that comic book shop owner that I'm talking about this week, where I went about the comics, he was like, I carry a lot of underground shit. And my mom was like, you don't carry no underground shit. What do you got? IDW? You think IDW is underground? IDW is not underground. Like, if they own Judge Dredd, it's not underground, right? IDW is a small press, definitely, but it's definitely not an underground press, you know? And I think people need to begin to understand and differentiate, right? He was like, I carry a lot of Image. Image is not underground. Image is not underground anymore. You know, he had like 3 Valiant titles, which surprised me because Valiant as well is not underground. Valiant is an established company from people that left Marvel, and it was all the execs that left Marvel and created another company called Valiant. That's why they get a lot of hate, but Valiant comics are pretty good though. I think it's gonna be good, you guys. I think it really is, and I think it's gonna be more of that. One of the goals that I actually had was to try to destroy Diamond Distribution, and I swear that I remember telling my homie Tim, the guy that opened up the restaurant with, I used to tell him a long time ago, like I want to take Diamond Distribution out the game. I do. And like some of my mentality was like to send free bundles of new comics and things like that for comic book shops to just try it out and then see what they could sell. Because my mentality has always been that each location, they're into different shit, man. Like as an anarchist, I really do feel that each community is kind of autonomous of its own. And so because that's my mentality, I feel like comic book shops should be doing something like that. And that's kind of like what I've been pushing and talking about with this coffee shop idea that I have, that hopefully maybe sometime next year it'll pop, man. But alright, you guys, this is just a long rant. Like I had a bunch of notes and shit, and I was reading shit off the phone. You know, it's just shit that I feel like should be discussed and talked about within our community because, you know, like I was saying, like we want to create, but a lot of us that publish ourselves, we either are hoping to get onto a big label that will then do the publishing and distribution, all that stuff, or you can be like me. And me personally, I want to own this shit and I want to build this shit. And so there is the business aspect of it that I always have to keep in focus, you know? But alright, guys, that's all I got for you guys today, man. Please, once again, like, share, subscribe, and tell people what the fuck we're up to so that we can continuously build this motherfucking shit up. Alright, guys, lights.
Fight the fascists.